What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl, Shelly Nicole, with Drinks After Work. How are you guys? How's everyone doing? I hope everybody had a great day. It was adventurous. No, it was a long day for me. I did overtime today, so I'm a little exhausted right now, but it was good, though. It was still a good day regardless of it being long, but I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you guys are relaxing, kicking off your shoes, just getting in the house or driving home from work or whatever you guys are doing at this moment. Maybe you're just listening to this now, you're waking up. I don't know. At whatever time that you're listening to this, I thank you guys for listening. So I wanted to talk about this one this episode specifically, because I feel like a lot of people have done this and some regret it and some don't. When I was just asking people on my Instagram, when I was asking some friends, how did they feel about spinning the block on their old, their exes or somebody who they were talking to in the past. And a lot of people felt like it was kind of difficult for them to answer this question because a lot of people have done it. But also, not only that, a lot of people feel that they go with this, notion, never say never. And I understand that as well. Sometimes you need to let time do its thing. Sometimes you need to heal and move on, and your partner also has to heal and move on in order for you guys to get into a better space. But what if God is trying to keep you guys away from each other? Wonder if God's just trying to say, no, this is not who you're supposed to be with, and yet you keep going back to this person. I'm trying to tell you no, but you just won't let it go. And then wanting to know why you're always fighting, wanting to know why you're always arguing, wanting to know why you guys never see eye to eye, why there's less happy moments and more arguments and more, I guess, conflict within your relationship than peace in the relationship. So that will probably then lead you to saying, okay, well, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this person no more and I'm over it. But I know some people feel like, well, time will then, if it's, the saying, like, if it's meant to be, then they'll come back to you. But then wonder if it's not meant to be and yet you're still holding on to it. And then what if you are meant to be and yet you move on with other people and, things are going great, things are going, just fine. But then this person tries to circle back around and you start having those feelings again. Do you feel the need to run back to what you know, or do you continue to go with who you're starting to have feelings for, who you're starting to build with? That's the question. I think that's the better question, right, to ask. If someone who you're starting to build with is in your life and they're doing everything great, and then an ex or somebody who you used to talk to reappears in your life after I don't know how many years of you guys talking or not talking, or breaking up, do you spin the block because, they still look good, he or she they still look good, they still have everything in order, they got a better job now, they're doing good for themselves, everything is great. Do you feel the need to spin it, or are you just going to go straight with what you're doing and not run back to the past? So the topic of this episode is never spinning the block, or should you? Now, normally, I write things down to just stay on point with everything, but it's just been a long weekend, and actually a long week last week. I'm super focused in the gym now, so I've given so much time to the gym, and when I come home, eat, shower, I knock out. So forgive me if I go all over the place, but I'm gonna try to just stick with it. I think I'm pretty good at trying to stay head on with what it is I'm saying. But nevertheless, spin the block, or never spin the block, or should you? So when I asked my friends this, they said that it was kind of complicated because that it depends on how you feel when it comes to the person. So like, if let's just say, like, okay, let's start off with the person that you're just talking to. Like, maybe this nothing ever came about your relationship. Maybe you guys were just fuck buddies, or you guys just dated here and there, but it never really amounted to like boyfriend and girlfriend. You guys went your separate ways. You did your own thing. There was no hate, no love lost, or anything like that, but you guys just did your own thing. Years later, let's just say 5 years later, comes this person again, and they still look good. They have a job. They have their career. Their career's going off. They have a car. They probably not have a place. Their mentality has changed and not the same person who they was years ago. How then would you handle, would you go back? I mean, I guess that's the main question, right? To ask yourself, like, would you go back to this person or try talking to this person again if they say like, hey, let's go out for drinks. I want to talk. It's been a while. I want to see what's up with you. In your mind, you already know that this is probably going to go, it's going to go way further than what he or she is saying, right? Like, they obviously, and it could honestly just be innocent on some like, no, I just want to say, catch up and see what's going on with you. But most of the time it's, I want to see what's up with you because I want us to start talking again, right? Like, that's, at least for me, that's how I see it. Like, when guys have said that to me in the past, it's like, oh, well, let's just meet up and let's hang out. I already know the whole thing is like, okay, well, you're taking me out on a date because you want to get back in my good graces and you want us to talk again. And I don't see, for me, I can't, when it comes to a guy that I was just talking to or a guy that I was just dating, I feel like it may be easier for me to say, okay, no problem. Like, we can possibly go out on a date, or we could possibly just, meet up somewhere. But I've noticed that I found myself, like, I say that, but then I find myself saying when I was asked at the time, I would say, like, no, I'm okay. Like, I don't want to. And I would honestly not even be dating anybody new. I would just simply say, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want to. And I don't know if that's fucked up for me to say, because they didn't do anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, no one broke my heart. They more than likely didn't lead me on, I don't think. Let me not say that, because there were some guys who I had talked to and I had thought something would stem from it, and nothing stemmed from it. Like, and like, we talked for like a little hot minute, like about 3 months or so. And that's why I say that 3-month rule. That's when you start to see people's real true colors, and their real fucking drawers. They really really get to see someone when they start after 3 months. But we had stopped talking, and months later they had hit me up and said, hey, what's going on? I hope everything's well. And I was respectful. I'm not mean and gonna say to you like, okay, what do you want? But I answered like, yeah, everything's good. This is going on, that's going on. I moved, XYZ, just catching up on life. And they would say the same thing back to me. So, hey, can we go out for drinks? I really want to keep talking and this and that. And I've said to them, no, I'm all right. I'm good. Oh, why? You're talking to someone else, or you got a man now? No, I don't want to. And I feel like maybe it's the Cancer within me. For those of you who don't know, I am a Cancer. Yes. Very, I don't even like to say very emotional, but we are emotional, and we mean what we say, and we say what we mean. And if we really like you, we really like you. And then the moment you do us wrong, or the moment we feel like you're playing us, we will cut you off by your Achilles heel. and there won't be no return. And I feel like maybe that's just, I think that's just me. Like, my parents have said that to me too. Like, you cut people off and you just don't, nothing. Like, you don't even see them. And I think I've mastered that over the years of like, I've learned to not hate guys who just did not, like, I guess, wasted my time, if you want to say that, or guys whom I've dated or have been in a relationship with, and I have mastered the whole thing of letting go, and not being angry, because you can say you let go, and just by the look of them, or just by them see, like, them popping up on your Instagram, or just seeing them in person can just like piss you off. And that's how you know you really didn't let it go. But I've learned to master over the years of truly letting go of what has happened and moving on from it without being angry. Because I noticed I used to be angry. I used to like, well, fuck him. Like, he wasted my time. Why do you care? Like, why do I care? And I would still be angry if I see them. Like, I would be ready to like throw a drink at their face. But now it's just like, okay, I hope everything's going good for you. I hope you have what you want in life. I hope you have who you want in life. I hope, whatever's going on in your life, I hope it's all good, and I hope it's all well, and I hope God is blessing you the way that he was supposed to. And I move now in that type of energy instead of having this whole hate thing towards guys who have done me wrong. And when I tell you it took a lot out of me, boy, it took a lot out of me when I tell you. But I feel way more calmer, and I feel like, why, granted, I'm tooting my own horn here, but granted, I was probably the best that they've ever had or they've ever talked to, but we're not gonna go there. But knowing that, like, okay, it just wasn't the time, or that wasn't the person for me, I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with letting that go. So when I'm asked, like, hey, let's go for drinks, or let's go rekindle, and this is as far as a guy who I just was dating and not in a relationship with, I'm also still on some like, no, like, you showed me who you was at that time. And I get it. I know people grow, people change. I understand that. But in my head, it's like, I hope you've learned and you've grown from what we had going on, and that you don't do it to the next person. I don't want to experience it again, because I've already learned, or I've adapted to not being around you, not talking to you. I closed my heart off. I closed my feelings off. Again, I'm emotional. I'm a Cancer. I don't care. That's how we operate. Name a Cancer that's not like that, and she ain't really, or he ain't really a Cancer. So, I mean, like, honestly, I think I can name a few, but I'm not gonna name a few anyway. Like, if I just don't want to experience the possibility of you doing me wrong again. And that's like what has kept me from dating guys who I've dated before in the past over again. And again, this is just guys who I just talked to, or I just went on dates with, or, it was nothing serious. Or at least they made it seem like it was nothing serious, or I made it seem like it was nothing serious at the time. But just guys whom I was talking to at the time, and where it basically went, which was obviously nowhere. And I would just say no, like, I'm good. And some of them would be like, they would get angry, they would get like annoyed, like, well, why not? Like, you think you're too good for me? And I'd really be on some like, no, I am, but no, that's not it. I just don't want to sacrifice my feelings all over again for you. I don't want to necessarily get to know you all over again. On that type of level, we could be cool, we could be friends, we could be, that's fine, we could talk here and there as a friend, but do I want to date you again? No. Like that door has shut. That door has like, it's never opening up again. But can we be cool? Like, can I get to like know who you are as my friend? Sure. Can we talk as far as like, who you're dating, who I'm dating, and we'll be on that friend type of level? Fine, I'm cool with it. But I think that's because when I lose feeling for someone, I lose feelings for like, there is none. It doesn't exist. I could go as low as like, who are you? Like, it's funny, but it's not funny because I can really shut off memory of who you were to me. And again, it won't be disrespectful, but it will literally be a thing of like, I don't know who you are because you've done this and that to me. I no longer, I've cut you out of my life. I've cut you out of the part of my life where it may have hurt, or where I may have wasted my time, or where you may have hurt me so much that I'm just like, bro, I'm good off you. So that's as far as like dating wise. Now in a relationship, it's completely different. Now this is just me, right? So relationship wise, I have been in 5 relationships. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not scared to say it. I have been in 5 relationships. My first real boyfriend was at and I guess it was puppy love, but my first boyfriend was, I think, 15. I think my first boyfriend was 15. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever I know who knows me for so long that knows this question, that knows the answer to this question. I think it was 15, but anyway, that was my first real boyfriend. In my adulthood, I've had 3 serious relationships. And now that I look back at those 3 adulthood relationships, because yes, I was in 5, but when I think of the 3 adult relationships that I was in, and when I say adult, I mean 18 and older, I think I only loved 2 of them. And I think I was in love with just 1 of them. And I really had to sit there and like really think about this when I had this, like, when I was thinking about this topic, and I was thinking about like what I was going to say, and basically freestyling it. Cause like I said, I didn't write down anything. How I was going to maneuver and speak not only my truth, but speak the truth of obviously what I want everyone who listens to this podcast. Like, the whole point of this podcast is to be honest with yourself and to come to the table being honest. You sit back, you put on a smile at work all the time. You put on a smile for the entire world, not just work, but you put on the smile and you make it seem like everything is good for the entire world for the entire time. And then when you come home, it's like you get to relax. You get to have this drink of whatever it is, and you get to really just be who you are and really sit in your feelings and sit in your emotions, because people don't do that enough. Everyone's so heartless and so emotionalist nowadays. It's like, I wish people would stop doing that and would just tap into their real shit. But I'm going to tap into my real shit, and I'm going to be vulnerable with you, as I've been on all the episodes so far when it comes to me. And hopefully you are thinking this as well as I'm saying this. But I was in, like I said, in my adult life, I was in 3 serious relationships. Out of the 3, I loved 2, and out of the 2 that I loved, I was in love with 1 person, and that was an on and off relationship. And I think I gave that relationship so much of my time, so much trying to fix it, so much concentration, so much I want. Let me make it right. To now, if this person, which he hasn't, but I'm just saying, if this person had said to me now, I think, when did we officially break up? I don't even know. I want to say it was Okay, so I was in college. I'm really trying to do the math here. I was in my grandmother passed away in 2012. Um, he was in college at that time as well. I was in college. So I want to say probably like 2013-ish, 2014-ish is when 2013, I want to say 2013, 2012, 2013 is when it was over. But I was, like I said, on and off. We were on and off for like about 5 years. So I basically I had cut it off because there was just so much going on. Like when I tell you it was everything that you could think of, had happened. And it was just a toxic relationship. It wasn't something that, I wasn't always happy. I wasn't always excited. We argued a lot. We fought a lot. We just had a lot of disagreements, and it was just not a healthy relationship. He cheated, I think, 4 times. Once that I knew of, and then the other 3. Oh no, he cheated 5 times. 3 I knew of. No, one I knew of. Sorry, one I knew of, and then the others I found out about later on after close to when we was about to break up anyway. But it was just messy. So it's like the whole person of who he was, and granted that was 2012. That was we were both in our 20s, early 20s. We were both young. Me personally, I always took relationships serious. I've always been that way. I felt like, well, if I'm going to make you my boyfriend, or if you're going to make me your girlfriend, why are we fucking around? Like, why are we messing around, and why am I talking to other men, and I want to be with you, and why are you talking to other women if you want to be with me? I just took it serious forever. I've always been that way. And then when I was single, and I dated who I wanted to date, and that was that. So knowing that he had did everything that he did in our relationship, if now he were to come to me and say, hey, I want to try again. I want us to reconcile what we have been through. Do you see it happening? Can you forgive me for what has happened? And can we move forward? And mind you, these are all the questions that I'm asking myself as I'm thinking about this topic, like, last week and just a few days ago, just thinking about like how I was going to, what I was really going to talk about as far as spinning the block. The first thing is, yes, I forgave him. I had to forgive him because I had to forgive him because in order for me to do that, I was able to forgive myself for staying as long as I did and putting up with the shit that I put up with. So forgiving the person for what they did to you is not for them. It's for you. That way you can heal. That way you can let go of what has happened. That way you can move on with your life and become a better person, and know what not to do in a new relationship, and know what not to put up with in a new relationship. Mind you, this is all the things that I had to learn throughout this entire time of me dating. And I did like a lot of reading. I did a lot of like spiritual work. I did a lot of stuff. Talked to my mom, talked to my dad, asked him questions. I talked to my brother. I would ask like so many people questions, and really just like also talk to myself, as crazy as that sounds. But like really just get in tune with myself. Like, Michelle, what are you doing, bro? Like, make it make sense. So one was to forgive when he asked, like, if he were to ask me, would I, forgive him for what he has done, which he actually has asked, years ago after, like, years ago, I want to say like 2019 or so, he had asked me, maybe it was 2020, right around when the pandemic happened, I think, somewhere around that. He had asked me, did I forgive him for what he has done? And I said to him, of course. And he was like, no, like, do you really forgive me for everything that I've done? I said, yes. And I really truly meant it, because I felt like, why was I going to hold on to what it is you did in your 20s, being young, in college, enjoying your life, doing what you were doing. I was enjoying my time as well, but we had two different agendas. And had we had just been honest with each other about what it is we really wanted, a lot of what had happened wouldn't have happened. So I told him that, I let it go. Like, I was over it. I forgave him. I just hope now, as he gets older and as he moves on with his life, and as he goes into new relationships, that he doesn't do the same thing that he did to me, that he would do to his next girlfriend or girlfriends that he's had, or whatever. So we actually did have that conversation, now that I think about it. But he never asked me, like, could we try it again? And I think he knew not to ask me, or maybe he was scared to ask me if we could try again, because he knows how I am as far as cutting people off. And he knows how badly I cut him off. Like, it was around, and what made it worse was, like, my grandmother had just passed away. So I was just, like, hoping and wondering that he would, like, be around and that he would, like, just be there. No, he wasn't there. He was here in New York, but because he had went away to school, he was here in New York, but he was messing around doing what he was doing while I was grieving the loss of my grandmother. And it's just like that on top of everything else was just like, you know what? I'm done. We're good. So I think he knew, because of how it ended, on top of everything that had happened between us, that there was no chance in hell that she's going to try, or she would want to give me another chance. And if that was his thinking, he was absolutely right. Because again, I know people change. I changed myself. I'm not the same person who I was last year. I'm not the same person who I was the year before that. I'm not the same. Everybody changes as the years go on, as the months go on. Everyone's developing. But like I said, when it comes to relationships and it comes to me opening my heart up to somebody, I can't see me spinning the block on someone who has done me wrong. Because there is always that chance that you're going to do it again. And if you do, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. Like, you did it already. What makes me think that you're not going to do it again? And I know it's messed up to say that, because it's like, you, especially as a Christian, you don't want to think that way about people, because it's like, you ask God to forgive you for your sins. You ask God to change you from the inside out. You repent, you reconcile with everything that you have done, and God forgives you for what you have done, and then you move on from it, and you try to live out your life the best way you can to do what it is that God's telling you to do. So it's hard to say that and then not be able to give somebody else a second chance for doing, or to make up what they have done to you, when you're asking God to forgive you for what you have done and he gives you a second chance. It's difficult. But at the same time, like, as I've become more and more spiritual, as I continue to read the Bible, and as I continue to understand from my perspective of how things work, God is completely different from human. And what God considers and what God is okay with and what God is able to forgive you for, it ain't the same on this side of the water. Like, we can forgive, but a lot of times we do not forget what has happened, whereas God can forgive and forget what happened, and you move on. That's how I see it. And again, I think the main thing that God would want us to do is to forgive the person who did us wrong. And that's why I told him, like, I'm good off of what happened. Like, I'm okay. I understand it. I wish you hadn't had done it. I wish you had said this. I wish you had said that. I wish you would have done this. I wish we would have done that. But at the end of the day, I learned from it. Because now I won't accept that. That cheating thing? Yeah. See? I tried this whole cheating thing. I tried this whole, like, let's try it again after a cheating situation. And I knew myself. I knew, like, Michelle, you can't handle somebody after they cheated on you and you take them back. Like, I knew I couldn't handle that. But I tried it anyway. And I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. Because every time I looked at him, I wanted to strangle him. Like, are you dumb? Like, why would you do that? But it was something that I had to see within myself throughout the time of that other relationship and what had happened. But going back to spinning the block with an ex who I was in love with, I can see where some people will say, well, it may be difficult to say no to somebody who you were in love with compared to someone who you just loved. And I guess because when you're in love, you kind of have like this feeling of like always wanting to do whatever it is you can to make this person happy, and you're willing to fight to make sure that everything goes right. So even if that means you guys split up and you guys go your separate ways, and then you'll say, you know what, I want us to try this again, because you were in love with them, I can see where, and you've shared so many memories and so many experiences, I can see where a lot of people would say, well, I would do it for the person who I'm in love with, and maybe not for the person who you just have love for. The other two relationships, again, and this is just me realizing and coming to this realization as I was thinking about it, I loved the other two. I wasn't in love with them. And the crazy thing is, like, you would have thought I was in love with the last one, because it was like we moved and did we moved quickly, one, but then two, it was just like a lot of things that we had hoped for to happen in our relationship had started happening rather early. But again, in not being faithful, cheating multiple times, lying, the manipulation, the emotional dragging, the whole thing that had happened in that relationship, I feel like I was in love with the thought of him, in love with the thought of who he could be, but I wasn't fully in love with him as much as I thought I was. I just loved him. And I loved him a lot. I did. To say that I didn't would be a lie, but I loved him a lot. But I had to realize that I had to put myself first, and I couldn't continue to act as if nothing was bothering me. And I couldn't continue to act as if I wasn't upset with what had happened in our relationship. But I can't see me coming back to someone who has done me wrong in the way that I would have never done them. And then I also remembered, well, I had asked something similar to this. I had asked somebody else who is older than me, and they had gone through the same thing, spinning the block on now it's their wife. He said that, she was very emotionally abusive. She was very manipulative. She was a narcissist. And after a while, they split up, but they remained friends. They kept in contact, but they tried to date again. And this go around, he said that meaning him, he had limits to the things that he would be okay with and the things that he would not be okay with. And he put his foot down on a lot of her ways, and basically just told her about herself in a respectful way. And the fact that she was receptive to it made him want to spin the block and made him want to try the relationship over again, because he's like, okay, she's getting older. She's trying, she's maturing. She's not the same person who she was years ago. So maybe I can give her a second chance. and see where this goes. And then, like I said, they're married now. They have like 3 kids, I think, 3 or 4 kids. And he's like, of course they have their up and downs, but nevertheless, they're in a much better space. So I guess it really just depends on who. It depends on. I feel like it depends on how you view the relationship, but also who you are. Because what is okay for one person is just not okay for everybody. There will be people who will constantly go back to their ex, will constantly revisit, what they know, will stick with what they know and not want to go for anything new. But I feel like that doesn't help with your own personal growth. I feel like if you stay going back to the same thing that's giving you pain, that's causing you heartache, that's causing you frustration, stress, all of it, you're not really learning who you are. You're not really growing per se. Like, you're growing, of course, right? You're maturing, you're going through the motions, but I feel like it gets I'm trying to think of like the word to say. Not the right word, but I'm trying to think of the word to say. You really start to build your library. You really start to build your tolerance for what it is you'll accept and what you won't. And staying and constantly going back to the same thing that is constantly giving you problems, that's constantly giving you headaches, that's constantly giving you stress, that's constantly questioning yourself, questioning if you're good enough. I don't see or understand why people do that. And it's not just women do it, men do it too. Men go back to the same women who treat them badly, who talk down to them, who cheat on them, who do the it's not just a one-sided situation. And I understand some people also will say that, oh, well, it's a different type of love. But how much can you really love someone to stick around and be with them, to see them disrespect you over and over and over and over again, to then say to them, okay, I'm going to give you another chance to prove to me that you won't. Like, I guess you can say like that's kind of like trauma. I don't know if maybe a therapist would say that's trauma. I'd have to ask one of my therapist friends. Like, would me saying no to an ex or somebody who I used to talk to, with me saying no to us trying or having a second chance, is that because of trauma of that relationship? And I can't see past the trauma that they have put within me, in my mind, when it comes to them. Although I know that they're probably a different person, they're not the same. But again, I rather you have learned from our situation and see to it that you don't do it in your next relationship, because I learned things in my old relationships that I will never do in my next one. I have put my foot down on things where I'm just like, you know what? If you can't give me, for example, I love flowers, right? I always used to downplay it because I was just like, oh, flowers, they die quickly, and who wants to spend all this money on flowers and X, Y, and Z. The fact that there's so many ways for you to make a nice bouquet for your girl, and it could be cheap. Like, how many times, I don't know how many times I've seen, just even on TikTok alone, where girls have shown guys, and guys have even shown other guys, how you can go to Trader Joe's or something, pick up different type of flowers, put it together, make an arrangement, and boom. It doesn't all have to be the forever flowers that are $300. It doesn't have to be that all the time. It can simply be something as you putting together the whole arrangement and you giving it to me. I like flowers. I love me flowers. My flowers die, I want another. I want some more. I like candles. I like small things like that will bring me oh my God, you thought about me. That's so cute. So in my past, I would never, really give my opinion or my criteria, I guess, about what it is that what I'm looking for and what I expect for the guy to give me or to do for me. I always play this, oh, I'm cool with whatever we can do, whatever I'm down for, I'm real laid back, which I still am. I'm a very laid back person. I don't need to be like in the center of attention. I don't like that. Although some people said that they thought I was very cocky and, what they said, they thought I was cocky and, not annoying, cocky and arrogant when they first saw me. Like before I even opened my mouth, before I said anything. I was like, I get that a lot. And I don't know if it's because I have resting bitch face, but, and I'm working on that too. My mom would always say, Michelle, make sure you smile today. Make sure you smile today. I'm like, yeah, smile. I know. I have to smile more. But, I'm not like, and those are just the small things that I want. And those are the small requirements that I expect of you. The bigger ones, obviously, be consistent. Call me, text me. It takes 2 seconds to send a text message, maybe even less than that. Even if your day is going busy, call me at the end of the day. Be like, just the small things, like I said, and even the big things that I really wanted, that I just put to the back seat because I was just like, what does he want and what can I do to help him? I said, yeah, no, we're not doing that again. I've done that before. This is where it led me. And we're moving on. Even the type of guys who I go for, like, you still gotta have a little zest to you. You still gotta be a little, like, I'm a little street still. But that whole hood type of guy, that's not my thing anymore. I've outgrown that. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Please don't take this the wrong way. But I've just outgrown that type of guy who's just strictly like that. Like, that can be a part of you, but I need more. I need more substance. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about something other than, just bullshit. Let's have a conversation about what's going on in the world. Let's talk about how you're feeling, how I'm feeling. Questions that I just will come up with, and then it's like I come up with deep ass questions because I really be trying to, I really sometimes just sit around and think about like certain shit, like what about if this were like this, or have you ever thought of just really having these questions in my mind. But for us to even have these type of conversations, I need a guy who has substance, and like I said, who can be very very consistent. But just those are just some of the things. But I'm just saying, as far as that's what I've learned to be more vocal on and to stick by. And I don't know, I don't think I'll ever have that moment of wanting to date someone who I've dated in the past. Like I said, we could be cool, we could be friends, we could be, we could just be the homie. Like, you could be the homie, but outside of that, nothing else is really gonna happen. I can't see anything else really happening outside of that, because like I said, I already have this thought of what you've done in my, it's like a stamp. Like, you put that stamp in my mind of this is how you are, and I don't want to risk it again. And I do feel like, even as I talk about it now, that's something that I probably have to work on, because I don't want, it's not fair for people to feel that way. But I guess when you put your feelings and your emotions behind it, and a lot more in depth of a connection has happened between you two, it's hard to look at that person the same way, like, will he do it again? Like, I don't know. I don't want to think you would, but who knows? I don't know. I personally, like I said, for me, I'm not a spin the block type of person. I can't. And I think, like, it also makes me feel like I'm not living up to exactly what I want. And then on top of that too, it's like when we when we would hang out, or like if we were to ever hang out, I would just like have this like this face, like this face. I it's funny, but it's not funny, because I would have that face like, you're an ass and I don't like you. And like as if I'm not attracted to you anymore. Like that attraction is not there anymore. I don't, I can say like, oh, you're cute still, but that's about it. Like I don't feel like, oh my God, he's fine as hell. Like I just can't wait to kiss him and hug him, and like I don't feel that no more. I just look at you like, oh, okay, he's cute. Like it's so it's so sick. It's so crazy that someone can really feel that way. But it's like it's not like I don't give these warnings. It's not like I don't say like, listen, I rather you tell me how you're really feeling and what you want than for us to go months, years on in, and I'm just now knowing, I'm finding out you're not really happy, or you're not content, or you want to date other people, or you want to do, like, be upfront, be straightforward from the beginning. It will save a lot of problems. But I don't know, I just can't with the spin the block thing. I cannot wait to go on live on Wednesday. I go on live Wednesdays now at 6, and for about like an hour, just to hear what you guys have to say about the topic of the week. So Wednesday I'll be on live to talk about spinning the block. Should you or should you not? What do some people consider spinning the block? Some people may say like, okay, after us dating for a few years, that's considered spinning the block. Maybe after, I don't know, someone goes on a hiatus, that could be you being okay with spinning the block because it was a short little moment of them not talking. So maybe that's them spinning the block on you. I don't know. It depends. Like, I really just want to know what everybody feels about it. And it's interesting to know like why people do. Is it like do you do it because you're comfortable? Do you do it because you're scared? Do you do it because you don't think you deserve more? Do you do it because you feel this is all you deserve? Like, what makes someone want to spin the block, to try it again with someone whom has done them wrong for so many times, or has done them wrong for so long? And it's not a judging thing. Like, of course, I don't judge anybody and how they feel. It's a no judgment zone here. But it's just curiosity. And like, have you ever thought of like, well, why do I? And maybe I need to stop doing it. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But this was a very short episode. Not really short, but this was just an episode that I was kind of like thinking of, just more of an opinion, wanting to see what everybody would say and how everybody would feel. So tune in Wednesday, 6 p.m. on the Drinks After Work _ podcast on IG. That's the one that I'm going to be on live. And we can talk. We have the conversation. Again, I'm not judging nobody. I just really want to know, like, what makes you want to spin the block? And if you don't spin the block, why don't you? What causes you to lose interest in someone after they have done you wrong for you to say you don't want to try it again with them? It's just interesting to hear, because some people feel like they have so much time with this person and they don't want to start over with someone. I've even said that myself. Like, I would rather spin the block with someone because I don't want to try again with someone new. And I quickly got out of that thought process, because it was just like, well, I don't deserve this. Like, if this is what I feel like I deserve, I'm putting myself at a low standard. I'm putting myself way beneath what it is I know I deserve, and that's not me. I don't do that. So I quickly changed that idea, and I was like, you know what? No, I need to exit stage left. I need to get what I deserve and have someone give me the same thing that I'm giving out. And although it is lonely at first, because we're in a time where a lot of people are, like I said, emotionless, careless. Everybody wants to have 2, 3, 4 girlfriends, 2, 3, 4, I guess, boyfriends as well. I don't know. I don't know what's going on the men's side when it comes to dating. But for the woman's side, all the guys want, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They don't know what they want, but they act like they do. It's a lot. It's a lot that's going on. And I know for me, I'm standing on what it is I said that I want. And if you can meet me there with what I want, then we cool. If you can't, we still cool. There's no hard feelings, beloved. Just, find someone who is on the same level as you, or who is content with what it is you're okay with doing. But that's just how I see it. That's just my opinion. But I thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have an amazing night. I hope you guys have a great day tomorrow. Leave whatever happened today in today. Go into tomorrow with a fresh mind, fresh heart, fresh spirit. Have a good night, guys. Be safe. Love you. Bye.